Welcome to Supernatural Japan. I'm your host, Kevin O'Shea, and today we're heading to the southernmost reaches of Japan, to the beautiful yet haunted islands of Okinawa. Most people think of Okinawa as a paradise. Warm turquoise seas, coral reefs, white sand and beaches. Unique culture, food, and music. But Okinawa is also a place with a heavy shadow. Its soil is soaked with the blood of war, and its land is covered in American military bases that have been there since World War II. And wherever there's tragedy, there are ghost stories. Tonight we'll explore two of Okinawa's most famous supernatural legends, hauntings that don't come from Japanese folklore, but from U.S. military bases. And these are the tales of the bloodied soldier at Camp Hansen's Gate 3 and the cursed building 2283 at Kadena Air Base. Before we dive into the ghosts, let's talk about why the American military is in Okinawa in the first place. The Battle of Okinawa in 1945 was one of the most horrific campaigns of World War II. The Allies wanted Okinawa as a staging ground for a planned invasion of mainland Japan. Japanese forces dug into caves and cliffs across the island, determined to fight to the death. For nearly 3 months, the island became a slaughterhouse. The U.S. military lost more than 12,000 soldiers. Japan lost over 90,000 troops. But the most tragic part was the civilians. Over 100,000 Okinawan men, women, and children were killed. Many were caught in the crossfire. The Japanese military forced others into mass suicides. After the war, Okinawa remained under U.S. administration until 1972, when it was finally returned to Japan. But even then, the bases stayed. And to this day, about 70% of all U.S. military facilities in Japan are concentrated in Okinawa. For Okinawans, the bases are a constant reminder of war, occupation, and tragedy. And for the Americans living there, soldiers, families, and children, they've become home to some of the most chilling ghost stories in Japan. Let's start with Camp Hansen, one of the largest U.S. Marine Corps bases on Okinawa. The base is divided into multiple gates, but Gate 3 has a reputation that makes even the toughest Marines uneasy. The story goes like this. On quiet nights, a sentry standing watch at Gate 3 may see a figure approaching. At first, it looks like another Marine, a man in a uniform, but as he comes closer, it becomes clear that something is terribly wrong. His clothes are soaked in blood, and his face pale and drawn. In his hand, a cigarette. He looks at the guard, raises his cigarette, and asks for a light. If the sentry hesitates, the man vanishes. If the sentry tries to comply, the lighter flickers, but the soldier's gone. According to legend, this ghost is a spirit of a Marine who died in the 1960s during a bar fight. He was stabbed to death in a dispute in town, but instead of moving on, he returned to the gate where he once stood watch, replaying his last request over and over. Now, what makes this story especially unnerving is the number of independent reports. Marines on their first tour, young men with no knowledge of Okinawan ghost tales, have described the same apparition. Some say that entire shifts of guards have refused to take duty at Gate 3 because of it. There are even claims that at times, the gate has been closed that night to avoid further encounters. Now, skeptics will say it's the stress of night duty, fatigue, and imagination, but anyone who stood alone in the dark, and a place filled with death and memory, knows how thin the line between reality and the supernatural can be. Now, just a short drive away lies Kadena Air Base, the largest U.S. Air Force installation in Asia. It's massive. Runways that stretch for kilometers, entire neighborhoods of housing, schools, hospitals, and shopping areas. On the surface, it looks like a slice of suburban America dropped onto Okinawan soil. But among all those buildings, one gained a reputation so terrifying that it had to be abandoned. Building 2283. This was a residential house like dozens of others. Families moved in, and then strange things began happening. Residents reported lights flickering on and off, even after the wiring was checked. Faucets turned on by themselves, doors slammed shut in empty rooms. At night, footsteps echoed through the halls, even when everyone was in bed. But it wasn't just the noises. Families said they saw shadowy figures moving in the corners of their vision. Children spoke of, air quotes, friends. They played with friends no one else could see. One boy described a man standing over his bed at night, whispering words he didn't understand. Pets refused to enter certain rooms, barking and growling at empty air. One family moved out in the middle of the night, leaving most of their belongings behind. The stories piled up until the Air Force finally sealed the building. And for years it sat empty, a boarded-up ghost house in the middle of a bustling base. And some say it's still there, quietly rotting, avoided by everyone who knows its reputation. What's caused this haunting? Theories abound. Some claim that the house was built over a mass grave from the Battle of Okinawa, where civilians hid and died. Others say a violent incident, a murder-suicide by a distraught soldier, left a stain on the property. Whatever the reason, Building 2283 became a legend, a place whispered about by both American families and Okinawan locals. To understand why these stories resonate, you need to know a little bit about Okinawan spirituality. Okinawa has its own religious traditions, distinct from mainland Shinto and Buddhism. Central to these beliefs is the maibui, the soul or essence of a person. If someone dies violently, suddenly, or without proper rites, their maibui can linger, restless and angry. Sites of mass death, like caves, cliffs, and battlefields, are considered spiritually dangerous. Spirits may attach themselves to the living or to places built on top of their graves. For Okinawans, the idea of places like Camp Hansen or Kadena Air Base could be haunted makes sense. These bases were literally built over the bones of the dead. And for Americans far from home, surrounded by a culture steeped in ghost lore, the strange experiences gain extra weight. Ghost stories cross borders. Fear is universal. The ghosts of Okinawa are more than just scary stories. They're reminders of the island's painful history. The bloodied Marine at Camp Hansen's Gate 3, forever asking for a light. The haunted building 2283 at Kadena, echoing with the cries of unseen children. Whether you believe these tales or not, one thing is clear. Okinawa is a place where the past is never far away. The spirits of war, tragedy, and unresolved loss linger in the humid air. Thank you for listening to another episode of Supernatural Japan. If you enjoyed today's story, please subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, leave a review, and share it with friends who love ghost stories and Japanese folklore. Be sure, of course, to follow this podcast on social media. Come on over and check out our Instagram at Supernatural Japan and follow the Facebook group. Links are below in the show notes. I always say below, as if I'm talking like this is a YouTube video, but it's not. We do also have, I have a YouTube channel, your host Kevin O'Shea, at Busan Kevin, and this episode is also on YouTube. Every episode is. Soon, I hope there will be video versions as opposed to just a static screen with the audio. Now, you can, of course, follow me, Kevin O'Shea, on X and Blue Sky at Mad for Maple. And if you'd like to email me with your episode ideas, thoughts, or just say hello, how you doing? You can email me at supernatural.japan@gmail.com. Now, of course, you can support the show over at Buy Me a Coffee. We have one-time donations as well as monthly memberships. If you become a member, there's a lot of extra content for you. All the links are in the show notes. And remember, again, one of the best ways you can always support this show is to just share it on your social media. Tell a friend about Supernatural Japan. If you have a friend who's interested in Japanese culture, Japanese anime, manga, history, let them know about this podcast. Also, share it on your Facebook page. If you're a member of any Japan travel Facebook pages, please share it over there too. I'd really appreciate it. It would definitely help like-minded people come on over to this podcast. Well, that's it for another episode. So, if you ever find yourself on the island, enjoying the beaches or exploring the castles, take a moment to listen. In Okinawa, the ghosts of history are never silent.